Same thing with asking. As soon as you ask, you're becoming vulnerable. You're becoming vulnerable to rejection. You're becoming vulnerable to yeses. I mean, people are scared of yeses even. Because think about it. Someone says yes. Now you have to do stuff. Right? Now you have to actually take action. So it's like, again, you're opening yourself up. But that is exactly where those golden opportunities are, is when you're vulnerable and you're willing to ask.
Hello and welcome to Pillars of Wealth Creation, where we talk about creating financial success with a special focus on business and real estate. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer. Now, let's get to it. Are you ready to start investing in real estate today but don't know where to start? Sometimes investing can seem way too complicated, but it actually couldn't be any easier than with homeinvest.com. You know the co-founder and my friend Nate Armstrong. He appeared on episode 20, and if you haven't heard it, go back and listen to it, episode number 20. Home Invest is a company that allows you to invest in turnkey real estate. Their goal is to build powerful investment tools that make real estate investing accessible to everyone. They have contractors and property managers available for you with the click of your mouse. While other real estate agents can only offer a property, Home Invest brings you a full turnkey package that allows you to diversify your investments, earn passive income, and start building equity in properties. Their simple, intuitive design allows newcomers and experienced investors alike to hit the ground running and to be able to choose the properties when they want and where they want. View easy to understand charts and data to allow you to buy in only a few clicks or just a simple phone call. With Home Invest, you'll be building your portfolio as quickly or as slowly as you would like. And right now, Home Invest is giving our listeners, Pillar of Wealth Creation listeners, a free course on how to finally win in real estate investing. So go to homeinvest.com/pillars. That's homeinvest.com/pillars to claim your free course today. Hello and welcome to Pillars of Wealth Creation. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer, and with me today is Jory Torkildson with Keller Williams.
Yes.
How are you doing today?
I am doing good, man. Thanks for having me on. I'm really excited to talk with you today.
Well, I appreciate you coming on the show. So why don't you give our listeners a quick background of who you are and what you got going on in the business world?
You know what's funny is whenever you ask someone what you have going on, I love it when like business people and investors say nothing, because it's like it's like no way. There's always something going on. But so I'm actually part of a national expansion team within Keller Williams. So we run there's an 8-person team and soon to be 12-person team here, hustling and grinding on the real estate sales side of things. I also have a podcast myself called The Grind. So we run that, and that's more on just personal development. I own investment properties and I want to buy more. So that's kind of my third thing that I have going on. And then I also do a lot of teaching and training within our organization and outside of it. I've been in the military actually let's see here, in 10 days, it'll be my 18-year anniversary. So I love that side of things as well. So I have the opposite of nothing going on. I feel like sometimes this receding hairline just keeps fading fast, but it's a lot of stuff, man. Life is full. It's good stuff.
That's good. That's good. Well, first off, thank you, by the way, for being active in the military.
Yeah, man. I can't believe it's 18 years.
That's crazy.
Nuts. Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So I heard you at Minnesota Real Estate Exchangers Group. Mm-hmm. You were talking about lead generation. You're talking about basically drumming up business. One of the things I took from that, among many things, but you're talking about how you go to these network events as these people like spew their business cards at you.
Yes.
And I thought it was hilarious because you're wearing a pair of pants, it's got the big pocket and then the little pocket right above the big pocket. You're like, that's the secret pocket. You put it right here for the people you actually want to talk to.
Yes.
So I actually, it was on a podcast not too long ago. We were talking about that, and I've taken that to heart. Like, I don't spew business cards to people. I never really have, but it's like, you got to have a real conversation with somebody. And if people don't have a real conversation with you, you're right. Those things just go in the garbage. You're like, who is this guy? I don't remember this. I don't remember this gal. I don't know.
And you know what? It's transactional versus transformational. That's the way that I look at it. And if you remember, I call it Chinese star in business cards. Just because that's what a lot of people are like is they're transactional. They just want these quick deals and da. And it's like, well, is that really the way to do it? So that's why with the networking events, I think if you come from the mindset of transformational, like, hey, I want to be purposeful. I want to build a relationship with someone, and I want to talk to them, and then we're going to connect, and then I'm going to put them in my database. I'm going to follow up with them. I'm going to stay in touch. Whatever that looks like, it's going to be way better. It's that going deep versus going wide, right? It's way better of an approach, I think, and you're going to have longer lasting relationships, really.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, you just get this quick little connection. It's not really a connection. It's just a name you heard, and just kind of goes by your head. So you've got to actually connect with people on a real level. So, well, let's dig in. I love the topic of lead generation. So let's dig into that, and the importance of lead generation. So can you speak to my audience a little bit about, you've got a business, whether it's being a realtor, whether it's an investor like me, whether it's any number of businesses, it's all the same. You have to have lead generation. You have to be able to somehow find your business.
Well, nothing happens right in the world without sales. You're selling all day, every day. Even if you're not in sales, you're selling. You're negotiating with your 3-year-old in the morning when they're trying to have a Snickers bar for breakfast, right? And you're negotiating and you're selling them on the idea, right? So whether you're an investor, you own a business, it doesn't even matter. Sales is where it's at. So if you have a dry pipeline, and anybody that's listening, right? I mean, it's like a funnel, and it's funneling into like the now deals, right? And so having a daily habit, it's just like working out, right? It's not the easiest thing to do. In fact, it's actually the hardest thing to do, right? Just like working out is. I mean, very few people, unless you're literally a, fitness crazy fanatic, absolutely loves it. Everybody has the same battle with that. It's the same thing with lead generation for a business, whether you're an investor or whatever. It's basically building relationships and figuring out how you can help and hook other people up, transformational versus transactional, right? Giving, and human beings are reciprocal beings. And that's why if you have this daily lead generation habit, we do it for 3 hours. I've been doing it for 3 hours, 9:30 to 12:30 for probably 5+ years. And now it's what I do. And it's awesome, man. I mean, it's in a way I'm almost addicted to it. So when I don't do it, it's really strange to me. And, but it's just constantly having a full pipeline of all different kinds, right? I mean, it's not necessarily just transactions. See, some people might think that, of course, we're looking for deals, right? Duh. But how do you know you're not going to talk to your next partner, your next employee, your next mentor, right? So, I mean, so you really have to change the way you look at things, and the way you look at things change. Everybody's heard that quote. I think that's classic Jim Rohn. But you go into it like, hey, I need to build purposeful and professional relationships, okay, on a daily basis. And then I'll never have an empty pipeline. I always have stuff going on. So when you and I kind of joked, I'm like, I mean, in the very beginning of the show, like, what do you have going on? Anybody that says I got nothing going on, they don't have a lead generation habit. Really, right? I mean, they don't have a lead generation habit, because then they're just waiting on what? Chance, right? Luck. Oh, I hope I bump into somebody that happens to want to do something that I do. And that doesn't make any sense to me, right? So it's like you have to proactively get after it. And then next thing you know, now you're not leaving it up to luck. Now you're actually, you're taking action to make it happen.
Yeah, that speaks so true. And I like the the workout, reference, because anybody, I used to run daily and, lots of miles. And it's so easy though. When I was running, putting in 70 miles a week, it just was natural and it just flows and it's just a habit. Like you said, all of a sudden you take a couple days off, you're like, that's weird. And then you just naturally go back to it. Now being old and not quite as in shape, it's so hard to get back into it.
Yeah.
If I sit here and try to run for 5 to 7 days a week, it's especially when I first try to get back into it, it's painful. It's hard. It takes a lot of effort. And that's just the same with lead generation as you're talking about. It's hard. It's a very hard habit. But like any habit, once you start doing it over and over and over and over and over, it does become a habit, and you do it.
Well, and it's so funny because we hear it all the time in sales, and again, sales is everything. I mean, in investing is sales, right? I mean, investing in real estate, holy smokes, right? Sales. And we hear it all the time when people first start, and they always ask, like, well, where do I start? Like, who do I call? And it's just, again, that's why I say, hey, working out, guess what? When you started running, you probably sucked the first half mile. Oh, okay, I'm not a runner, and now I'm going to become a runner. Guess what? Your first mile, it's going to be hard. But then you do it for 3 months, you're like, a mile? What the hell is that? I can do it for 5 now, and 6 and 7. It's the same thing with lead generation. Before, right, it'd be like, gosh, this is hard. But now it's like, boom, let's go. Let's get after it. Let's get 20 dials in. Let's get 30 dials. Let's get 100. An agent on my team actually this morning, the 100 dials. She's like, I just did 100 dials. And she's newer on the team. And she's like, oh, it's amazing. There's, I got 3 opportunities there. And it's like, you're finding opportunities, again, of all different kinds. It's such a pivotal and crucial aspect of, it's really, I think it's the lifeblood of any business. Any business is finding opportunities. Where are they? They're everywhere, right? I mean, they literally are everywhere. It's just sometimes we have the blinders on and we don't see them, and that's the problem. And that's why people have dry pipelines, or they're complaining that they're not busy enough, or they don't have any deals. And it's like, really? How many phone calls did you make today? How many touches did you make today? And they're none. Or you know what I mean? And so it's a weird paradigm, man. I tell you, it's a paradigm. It's a mindset shift, really.
Well, and it's funny because every time, every year, every day, there's opportunity out there. You hear there's always an excuse, right? I mean, in 2008 and 2009 in real estate, nobody was selling their houses. The market's falling down. You can't find leads. Well, now it's houses are too expensive, or there's too many realtors out there, or it's whatever. There's always an excuse if you want to make it. But I guarantee it, your guys that are spending 3 hours a day, guys and gals who are spending 3 hours a day on lead generation, are getting leads.
Yes.
And they're probably converting.
Yes. That's the thing is, I think in any market, no matter what, you can either bury your head in the sand or you can roll your sleeves up. Any market. There's always, here's the thing, no matter what, in any market, at least in our world, right? But I would actually, I would dare to say this for almost any business, because every business has ebbs and flows. Every industry has ebbs and flows, depending upon the market fluctuations, economic fluctuations, blah, blah, blah. So in real estate, for example, well, guess what? Very rarely does it end up in the middle where like buyers and sellers are like even. It's like that for like a day. And then it's like, so now, for example, we're in this extreme seller's market, right? Awesome. Great. Well, you're right. 2008, it was an extreme buyer's market. Great. There was people who made a killing in 2008, a killing. And there's people making killings today. So it's like, again, you can either bury your head in the sand, or you can roll your sleeves up and take ownership of where are the different kinds of opportunities. Because again, you reach out to enough people, there they are. I just had a group, I got to tell you this, it's so funny. Last week, this new agent that I just said did the 100 dials, And she's actually going to be doing 200. She's actually going home. She had to pick up her son or something. She's going to do another 100 dials. And so last week they went and did some door knocking with an experienced agent on the team. And I kid you not, of course, beginner's luck, because she just joined us last week. On the 5th, or no, I'm sorry, I think it was the 10th door. There was a guy outside, like shoveling or doing something on the end of his driveway. And here's my crew, they're just walking around, and she goes, well, we got to go talk to that guy. And the experienced agent's like, well, of course, he's sitting there. We're going to go talk to him. And they do their script, right? Their script is the fact that they previewed a home right down the street, which they did. There was a home for sale. They previewed it. That's their opening line. So they have a reason to stop by. And then they bust out the line. Hey, we previewed this home. It's pretty nice. Hey, we're just wondering, when are you planning on making a move? And I kid you not, man, beginner's luck. And this is about a $700,000 house on Echo Lake, I think it is. And he goes, now.
Sick of shoveling.
Yeah, I'm sick of shoveling, exactly. And he goes, now, you guys, we're actually getting the house ready to sell it right now. Do you want to come do you want to take a look at it? They came in, they set the appointment for the next morning. I mean, they looked at the house and they set the listing appointment for the next morning. So the point is, right, obviously, beginner's luck, not really. So what ended up happening is that agent, she texted me right away. She's very excited, of course, right? Newer agent, like, oh my gosh, like, this is amazing. And she goes, it's so random. I almost wish I could read it, but I know it. She goes, it's so random. And I said, is it? ? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, no, it isn't. You put yourself in the path of opportunity. It's not random. It's action. And I said, do you realize how many of those are right around us? I said, if you door knocked 100 doors, there'd be another guy that would say the exact same thing. When are you planning on making a move? Well, within the next year. Sounds good. I'm glad I'm here. Let's chat. Or, you know what I mean? And so that's why I say the point of the whole thing is it's not luck. It's put yourself in the path of opportunity, because it's everywhere. Whatever that looks like, whatever market that looks like, that obviously that, you gotta pivot, change your strategy a little bit, because, depending upon economic markets and blah, blah, blah. But other than that, the basics of it is the same. There's no different, right? I mean, in 2008, there was lots of short sales. Guess what? Become a short sale expert. I mean, instead of burying your head in the sand, pivot and learn about short sales and then do that.
Yeah.
And maybe apartments, see the same thing, right? I mean, sometimes apartments are lucrative, sometimes they're not. Okay, well, if they're not, pivot and do this and kind of, or you know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, that I know several realtors that pivoted from in 2008. They started selling to buyers, started selling to investment people.
Right.
They're all of a sudden they're representing all these flippers and guys like me that are out there buying properties, and they're making a killing doing that. And I know a few of them that didn't shift and didn't change when the tide changed, and now they're either not. Well, actually, a couple of them aren't even realtors anymore.
Right.
They didn't shift when that time shifted. Same thing with there's several foreclosure realtors. They used to be big. They were crushing it. And now they're nowhere to be found.
Yeah. That's the thing. So it's that pivoting, right? It's that shifting and just being like changing gears. You got to be nimble. I don't care if you've been doing it for 30 years. Those are the ones that scare me the most. I've been doing this for 30 years. Really? Okay, that's when you're gonna be on a chopping block. Like, you can't have that mentality. I've been doing this the same way for 20 years. Really? No. Because guess what? What are we in, right? The fourth, have you heard this term, fourth industrial revolution? Or not, no, not the fourth. Is that what what are they calling it? The fourth, have you heard this term?
You lost me here.
Well, because of technology, they're calling it. It's like the
information age, but
we're in the information age, but they're calling it kind of the fourth revolution as far as massive change happening.
Sure. Yeah.
So industries are getting shaken up. So it's like, if you can't be kind of a chameleon and be flexible and go, where's the opportunity now? Okay, it used to be here. It's not here anymore. I need to keep digging. I'm going to keep digging for gold. You know what I mean?
Yep. Well, and it is true. I mean, people, and I hear it all the time. Oh, real estate's, it's always going to be there. It's never going to change, which is right. But it always changes. It
Oh yeah.
always changes. I mean, flipping houses can be great during some time and rentals can be great at others. And, different strategies are great for different markets and always be changing. The same thing with being a realtor. We already talked about being a seller's rep right now is great.
Mm-hmm.
Being a buyer's rep, it was fantastic. And, just 8 years ago.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and even changing the way you do things, like, okay, so with that, for example, here's a perfect example. If you're a buyer's rep right now and you're not door knocking for your buyers, you're a fool. And sorry, I didn't mean to diss everybody. No, I'm just kidding. You know what I mean? No, but here's the thing, right? Okay, so so you're hired by let's say, for example, Todd, you're a buyer and I'm a buyer's rep, and you hire me and you say, listen, I need to I want to find a duplex, whatever. Yeah. I want to find a duplex in Minneapolis. Awesome. Okay, sounds good. If in the market we're in, you should be hiring a buyer's rep that's willing to do what it takes and not worry about the MLS, right? Or whatever. What are they leaving it up to? Luck. Instead of being like, oh, okay, you want to find a duplex in Minneapolis, wherever, Northeast Minneapolis? Okay, sounds good. I'm going to door knock every single one. Or whatever. I mean, or I'm going to call every single one. I'm going to look them up, and I'm going to actually call the owners, look them up, and hustle, finding opportunities. And those buyers reps, guess what? They get paid more, right? Because now they're finding the juicy opportunities. They get paid more because they're working for it. They're hustling for it. Right? I mean, you have the hump day hustle, same thing, right? They're hustling. They're actually doing stuff, and they're passionate about it. I don't walk in here like with my head down. I walk in here like, all right, where's the next opportunity? I'm working with these people. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I got to help them find this. I got to help them find that. You always got to remain humble and never be willing to, I don't think you never want to get to where you don't do the basics. And the basics still is just classic, common lead generating, right? There's just certain things. It's either phone call, face-to-face, networking. I mean, there's only so many of them. It's not rocket science. I mean, you can dabble in and add some Facebook Messenger and text here and there. But for the most part, it's that part hasn't changed. Just like, in a way, just like doing bicep curls hasn't changed. I mean, the only thing they do is, you can go this angle a little bit and work this part of the bicep. But for the most part, it's just lift the damn weight up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So same concept.
So you got a new agent coming in, and you want them to be successful as soon as possible. So give me your 5 or 3-step or whatever process of you getting them successful as quickly as possible.
You're going to love this. So what we do, you'll actually really like this. And this my military background comes into play here a little bit, because what we do if it's brand new, like literally they're green, they have no idea what's going on. We have a week of shadowing and onboarding. Okay. So it's like, hey, come hang out, get onboarded. You're not doing anything. You're just seeing how agents operate, seeing what we do, And then we basically, we throw them right in the fire, and we do what's called Hell Week. And Hell Week is what Becky's doing actually this week. And here's the thing, actually, Hell Week is actually what we should do every week, because here's all it is. Like as an agent, it's 1,000 dials. And so, 200 a day. It's 100 door knocks in a week. So, 20 a day. And then it's 10 out in public, and 10 out in public. Here we go. Right. It's literally walking up to complete strangers, or, your person at Caribou Coffee, ask the power of the ask. Say, hey, I'm really excited. I'm glad you're helping me with my coffee. I'm really excited. I just got my real estate license. If you know of anybody, here's a card, right? That's an out in public. Very simple. And then one open house on the weekend. That's simple. But and then the 200 dials is broken up. It's 190 cold calls and 10 sphere of influence, right? And the whole thing is just designed, number one, to start building up your callus and your resiliency for rejection, because you're going to get it a lot, right? So And it's also just making tons of contacts. It's a contact sport. And then and it's amazing when you do this, you find opportunities, just like Becky did today. First day, she does 100 and she's going back she's going back home to do another 100. And I said, how'd it go? She says, I got 3 nurtures. I said, tell me about them. And, there was a couple good conversations. Then there's one guy that's like, yeah, I'm selling in the next year. And she's like, do you mind if I stay in touch with you? She got all her contact information, a cold call, right? I mean, this isn't, we're not reinventing the wheel. Just talk to people about stuff. I mean, doesn't that sound dumb? Like, just show up and talk to people and ask them the question of, when are you planning on making a move? And all of a sudden, eventually someone's going to be like, now, or a year from, I hear it over and over and over again. It's predictable, right? So that's it. Then the following week, so that's Hell Week. Then the following week, then it goes into our weekly rhythm. And our weekly rhythm is really set up. Hey, script and role play in the morning, 9:30 to 12:30 lead gen. And then in the afternoon, it's set up for appointments, so hopefully everybody is actually out of the office. If I'm here every single day and everybody's in the office, probably not a good thing, right? They're not meeting people. Yeah. And so it's either set up for afternoons, get out of the office and go on appointments, or get out, door knock, and start going to preview homes, see what the inventory is in the market, stuff like that. And then knock and get in front of people, mostly just because the office will eat you alive. So it's nice to just get out in public. And then that's our weekly rhythm, man. Not rocket science, right? I mean, it's nothing overly complicated. Show up every morning, lead generate, leave. Show up every morning, lead generate, leave. And that's why even today it's like we have our Monday morning meeting, but as soon as this call's over, I got an appointment, so I'm bailing out. But that's it, right? Not hard, and really it actually isn't hard. I mean, it's just contacts, and we have all the systems. The cool thing is we do have all the systems to remove the barriers. So when I say make 100 dials, we use a dialer. So it calls 3 numbers all at once. It has pre-recorded voicemails, so you can make 200-300 dials in 2 hours. So that so what we do as a team is take all the barriers away for the agents that usually would bog them down. Like, how am I going to dial 100 numbers and leave voicemails? Well, you can't unless you have a dialer. Or, okay, where's my flyer for door knocking? Well, we have a marketing team. They make that. So it just, again, it's we want the barriers to entry to be very low. So that's why we have all the systems in the back end. So then all they do is the fun part, which is talking to people and selling and converting and doing that whole thing. Make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And I love that aspect of your business right there. And that was a question I was going to ask is, how are you scaling your business? And you've created a system now, and your salespeople are the ones then that are taking your system and building upon it, because you're only one person. You can only, if you dial 200 people a day, you're going to get some business, but you can only do so much.
Right. Well, and that's the point is being able to teach and mentor, and that's become a big part of my role now, is teach and mentor people the importance of the discipline behind it. You know what I mean? Because that's why we say discipline. It's a big mantra in our organization is discipline equals freedom, right? Just like when you said running. I mean, is it no different? Hey, guess what? Yeah, in the first week or two, are your legs sore? And are you sore and I can't do this? But then what does the 5th month look like? Freedom. You're like, oh my gosh, I can run like that. By the way, I'm a big runner. So that's why I can truly attest to this, where all of a sudden you're like, holy smokes, I can run 5 miles. No problem. That's freedom. Oh, climbing up that stairs or climbing up that mountain when I'm in ridiculously good shape, that's freedom. But you had to be disciplined to get there. Same thing with lead generation. Be disciplined every day, and all of a sudden it's weird, you have a full pipeline, right? And then the number one complaint goes away, which is I don't have enough business. Well, be disciplined equals enough business. See, so it's this really, again, it's simple. That's why, this is very common phrase, but it's simple. It's not easy. Getting in here every single day and not missing a day for week after week after week after week. I mean, it's not like that's necessarily easy. It becomes boring. It's the grind. That's why we have the podcast called The Grind, right? I mean, it's a grind. But then after a while, it just becomes what you do. And it's like, hey, this is what I do. You know, I don't have any appointments from 9:30 to 12:30. People want to meet at 9:30. No, I don't meet at 9:30. I have a standing appointment every single morning. That's what it is. And it's the lifeblood of our business, you know.
Cool. I like it.
Yeah.
Talk about your big, massive name tag.
Oh, yes. The big name. You know what? Here's what's funny about that, right? It's same concept is, you know, it's again, opportunity finders. I mean, that's the thing behind it. And actually I ordered that. It was funny because the way that started. So the name tag is about, gosh, I mean, how big, you saw it. It's about the size of, it's bigger than a wallet. It's a little bigger than a wallet. Right. Yeah. And I had my assistant order it because I was going to a networking event. Vikings. It was a Vikings event at their training facility. And I was like, you know what? You got to order me a bigger name tag. I had like this little name tag. And just give me the biggest name tag you can find. And that's what she got me, was this this thing. It was so funny because when I got it, I'm like, okay, this is a little ridiculous. And anyways, I wore it, and all of a sudden then it became a thing. And here's what's really funny about it though, is that it became like a weird thing. Like, it was funny at first, but then I started noticing, really, since it's so like almost weirdly big, what's funny is people love talking about it. And so now when I walk in, because I mean, I always wear jeans and a sport coat, you know, and then this thing, and it's right there, it's by me. But when I walk in places, people have to say my name. It's the weird, they're like, hey, what's up, Joey? And it's like, ah, we have this small little laugh, right? Or whatever. But what's hilarious about it is they just opened the door.
Yep.
For me to have a conversation with them. And I've had more, I kid you not, Todd, I've had more conversations with that stinking name tag. And by the way, I just actually got my first official, this was probably, well, not just, it was probably back in October, got my first official paycheck from that. Honestly, can I tell this story quick?
Yeah.
I was walking into a Caribou, and it was like one of the last kind of nice fall days, 60 degrees, beautiful. I was walking in, meeting a client, and they're there. There's a couple of people sitting outside, and I walk up and I just kind of look at them and I just give them the greeting. I say, "How you living? How you guys doing?" And they're like, "Oh, good." And there's two ladies, and then I walk inside. I'm meeting my client. I see him. I wave. I get my coffee. I'm waiting for my coffee, and all of a sudden, one of these ladies walks up to me, and she's like, "Joey." He points to me and she says, "Joey." I said, "Yeah." She goes, "My son's name is Joey," and I'm like, "Okay, that's cool." I'm like, "It's a good name." And she's like, "I see you're in real estate." I go, "Yes." She goes, "Well, I have a house." Okay, this, right? Talk about crazy. She goes, "I have a house in St. Louis Park I'd like to sell. How would you like to list and sell?" And I'm like, "Sounds good." And so, and she writes all her contact information down on my receipt. I end up I met with she goes, "It looks like you're meeting somebody. Call me later." I get in the car about 45 minutes later, call her, list their house. My team helps them buy, another house. Boom, paid from this name tag. So it's right, but it's not. But opportunity. I'm putting myself in the path of opportunity. I'm not going to be a secret agent. Now it's my name tag. More and more people have been ordering it. So now I got to go Flavor Flav style, I guess, because I got to get one now a little bit bigger than everybody. So I got to get like the chain with the big, like ridiculously huge license plate. Because I've been at every teaching engagement. Everybody says, "Oh, I got it," because I tell that story a lot. Everybody wants the vendor that gets these name tags. And I'm like, "Oh, dang it, now I got to get a license plate size name tag."
Yeah.
But you can't be a secret agent. Right. Don't be afraid to ask. That's all it is don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah.
Because you just never know what you're going to get. There's a really good book. I can't remember the author's name, but she's an indie rock star, and it's called The Art of Asking. And that is an art, right? Because what do you do when the name tag is the reason that's a little, out of ordinary is because it's huge. It's an advertisement. People are going to look at it. So what are you doing? You're opening yourself up to vulnerability. Same thing with asking. As soon as you ask, you're becoming vulnerable. You're becoming vulnerable to rejection. You're becoming vulnerable to yeses. I mean, people are scared of yeses even. Because think about it. Someone says yes. Now you have to do stuff, right? Now you have to actually take action. So it's like, again, you're opening yourself up. But that is exactly where those golden opportunities are, is when you're vulnerable and you're willing to ask. The people that actually kill it in any of these industries, investments, real estate, business, are the ones that are not afraid to put themselves out there and just ask the question and not care, detach yourself from the outcome 100%. You're either going to get yes, no, or everything in between. And I think that's people's biggest hiccup, is they don't want to just say it, just get it out, just ask. And then next thing you know, you never know what's going to happen. And awesome, really, really cool, awesome opportunities happen when you do that and expose your vulnerability like that.
Man, I'm pumped. I want to just go get rejected right now.
Isn't it the best though? I mean, that's no, by the way, I'm going to be doing something super funny, man. It's hilarious you say this, because I just thought of this idea. I don't even know why. I'm going to do an 8-hour cold call session, just straight up. I'm going to go 8 hours. I'm just going to keep the dialer just spinning. I'm going to have all my stuff. I'm going to record it. I'm going to go Facebook Live with it, because I want to prove to people. I'm doing this, I think, May 9th. I want to prove to people that it's like, let's see how many opportunities we can get in 8 hours, and of completely talking to random strangers, right? Is because, will there be massive amount of rejection? I'm sure it'll be that'll be, I don't know, probably 2,000 dials, 3,000 dials. And will there be 2,800 rejections? Absolutely. Will there be 100, not necessarily rejections, but there'll be kind of whatever, and 50 whatevers, and then there'll be like 10 awesome opportunities. You know what I mean? I almost guarantee it. I hate saying that, but I almost guarantee it. Go get rejected a bunch to find the gold.
Yeah, but if there's 10, you did it for 8 hours. If there's 10 opportunities, and let's say even out of those 10, that becomes 5 listings, which equate to 5 sales at 10 grand a piece or whatever that is in one day.
Yep.
That's how much money you just made.
In a way, you could do, if someone actually asked me, how could I work, maybe a couple days a month? Well, there you go. And actually, you know who does that? Speaking of podcast world, we had JLD, John Lee. Do you know John Lee Dumas?
Yeah.
We had him on the show, and you know what? He said that actually. You don't realize that he does this. So he's got one of the number 1 podcasts, obviously, like Entrepreneurs on Fire. Yep. Do you realize he does marathons? That's what meaning he records, like when he comes on people's shows, first of all, they're only 15 minutes, and he does like 30 of them in a day. And then when he does his own show, he records his entire month of shows. Remember, he's one show a day. He records all of them in 2 days, right? That's how he can only work on his podcast, which makes him a ton of money for because there's some other maybe prep and whatever, but he's really only busting it out 5 days a month.
Yep.
But he's going in, man, like a race, like a marathon, like I'm going in. That's why I kind of actually, from when we had him on, it made me think, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do an experiment. Screw it. Screw this 3 hours thing. I'm just going to burn this dialer for 8 hours straight. And, by the end, I'm going to be burnt just like a marathon. But then, you're going to have this invigorating feeling like, oh my gosh, look how many contacts, look how many appointments I got. Right. And it's also proving the fact that, hey, if you wanted to do this business and only work a couple days a month or whatever, you can. But it's not necessarily the most impossible thing, right? And you're right. I mean, how cool is that you can do that? You can make it and set these killer appointments. And I've done it before in 3-hour blocks, but I mean, why not do it in an 8-hour block?
Yeah.
I'm sweating just thinking about it.
Great. Let's shift a little bit to you and to kind of your mindset. So with your mindset, with what you've done and your success, what are 3 key factors to your success?
Okay, you know what? One of them is one that I've been actually journaling about recently, and it's embracing fear. Because you're gonna, the thing is if you're doing anything uncomfortable, right, at all, building a business, buying an apartment building, it's gonna be really freaking scary, man. Really scary. And in fact, just last week, I had a kind of a fear moment. I had a WTF moment. Like, what am I doing right now? You know what I mean? And if you're not having those moments, you're not, personally, I don't think you're doing what it takes. You have to. And so it kind of leads to the second one, right? Trying to figure out how to be comfortable being uncomfortable. That goes along with that fear. If you're kicking up, right? I mean, here's the deal, right? Going back to working out, because you and I have been talking about working out a lot. I mean, if you're kicking your feet up a lot, guess what happens? A beer belly, right? You know what I mean? Because I'm so comfortable. This is great. I'm comfortable. Well, next thing you know, you're out of shape.
Yeah.
So you have to, but here's the deal. You have to recognize that. You have to recognize that you're going down that path. Like, oh my gosh, it's almost like an emergency. Like, I'm too comfortable right now. Like, I have to actually I have to like jump out and do something crazy. And I'm not even saying like crazy, like you got to like take your shirt off and go running and streaking in the snow. I'm not saying that, right? But if
it is fun to do, but
it is fun to do.
Yeah.
But I mean, but if you're in that mode where you're like, you know what, things are good. Things are good, right? Oh, look, that's scary. You should be nervous when you're like, oh, things are good, because that's when you're going to lose it. That's when you're going to be out. That's when you're going to get out of shape. That's when you're going to have no pipeline, because you're like, I'm going to chill out. So you have to be cool with fear. You have to be, you have to basically recognize that fear. You have to get comfortable being uncomfortable, right? You have to force yourself to want to throw in the towel. If you're not feeling like, you know what, screw it, I'm going to give up, I'm throwing in the towel. If you have those moments, which I feel like I have those moments like once a week where I'm like, you know what, screw all this, throwing in the towel, I'm done. Why is that awesome? It's because I'm growing, and it's painful. Just like running, guess what, on the 10th mile. The 10th mile, you're like, done. I've run 2 marathons, and dude, it's like, you get to past 15, every mile is like, I'm done. But then when you cross the finish line and you push through, right? That's what's key. And honestly, man, the last one is just have a system, have a habit. Keep it simple. Don't go crazy. I say 3 hours, but maybe someone listening on this show, it's like, hey, everybody, just bust out 30 minutes of where you're like, I'm gonna reach out to 5 people a day. That's it. Just have a system that creates the habit. Because the thing is the top performers in any industry, in anything, any sports, any whatever, the only difference usually, Kobe Bryant, right? Michael Jordan, the only difference, yeah, maybe there's some innate talent, and they're 7 feet tall. That helps a little bit. But guess what? They just decided that they're going to have a system to make 10,000 baskets. I'm going to shoot 10,000 baskets. I'm going to shoot more than anybody ever has shot. And then they become Michael Jordan, or they become like Kobe Bryant, right? And so that's the only difference, man, is a habit. It's the only difference between anybody out there, a top performer and an average person, is they have really good habits. Look at Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone, right? Grant Cardone is a perfect example. He just does massive amount of work. He probably works harder than anybody. Gary Vee is another example, right? Those guys work harder than anybody. Yeah, they look like they're at the top, but what you didn't see is that they grinded probably for 17, 18 hours a day, just grinded away. And they loved it, but they had a habit of doing it, right? And so that's why I say fear, get comfortable being uncomfortable. And then the last one is the habit and system. Just have a habit and a system. And if you don't, get one now, fast.
Cool. I love it. I'm pumped. So tell about
we should do some cold calling on the show.
I know. I'm ready to do it, man. I don't even know who to cold call, but
you're like, I don't know. Just call anybody.
What are your goals moving forward? Maybe in the next 5 or 10 years?
One of the things that, I want to explore different opportunities in the sense of, but I have to get out of production, which that's step one. Step one is get out of production, run the sales team. And then step two, which is something in our industry that's really hard, is replace yourself. That's it. That's in any industry. Can you build a business and replace yourself? Then you can go do other opportunities. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I really like teaching. I really like inspiring people. It's something that's it's fun. I just get a kick out of it. I like talking about the trials and tribulations that I go through. I like calling them the fantastic flops, right? I love talking to people about the failures, about how people have fired me, about all those things, right? It's just fun. And so eventually I think what I'd like to do is start doing more teaching, take the podcast to another level, and just start doing more speaking, because I think that's where my passion lies. That's why being almost like the sales manager role is I like better. Not that I loved working with clients, because I love people. And so, but now being able to inspire agents to kind of go through and say, hey, here we go. I've done this now 8 years. Let me show you how this goes. Let me build this up.
Yeah.
It's really, really fun. And so that's kind of my passion. So, I mean, really my 5-year plan is to almost be out of this particular business and into more of a speaking role.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. What's your secret to the definition of financial freedom?
Oh, you know what? That's interesting, because I think financial freedom is so different for everybody, right? And it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be a millionaire, right? No, but I will tell you, I'm a firm believer in actual financial freedom. And I'm sure you probably heard this a lot. You probably believe this too, is because anybody that's read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which I'm sure a lot of your listeners have, and if they haven't, they should listen, or they should stop this thing right now and go read it or listen to it.
I'm reading it to my 8-year-old daughter right now.
Nice. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
So really it's right. I mean, financial freedom is get enough passive income to where you choose to work, which is crucial, right? I mean, you're choosing to work, or have your expense. I mean, you can look at it all different kinds of ways. Reduce your expenses enough and have that passive income. I mean, live within your means, live on 50% of your income, right? And then have your passive income replace it. Then you're choosing to work. Then you're doing, okay. Then you're actually, what are you doing? You're doing the stuff that you're passionate about, you know, and that's obviously, Robert Kiyosaki, that they teach that in that book, right? And I think he says that line in there, and that's what I've always thought of. That's why when you have multiple businesses going on. He even was a big proponent of that. Oh, yeah. You know, he was a big proponent of, I think he brought it up in, what's his second book? Oh, Cash Flow Quadrant.
Yep.
He brought up like network marketing, real estate, business, right? I mean, you have these different avenues and they're all providing different passive incomes. Everybody needs to do that. Just absolutely do that immediately. Obviously, that, you know, you and I know, I mean, you have investment property, I have investment property, and anybody listening to the show, I mean, that's a perfect example of one. Yep. Just mailbox money. There it is. There it is. There it is. You know, and so everybody can do it. It's just whether you choose to do it, right? But financial freedom really is where you just don't have to worry about it anymore.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we got to wrap up. I could probably keep talking to you for another couple hours.
I could keep going, bro.
So how do our listeners, you know, reach out to you, hear more about your podcast, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So, you know, anybody can feel free to email me. That's usually the best way to get a hold of me. It's Joey@GoTeamTorque, GoTeamTork.com. So Joey@GoTeamTorque. Check out The Grind. That's something that, you know, it's funny because that's talking about a lot of trials and tribulations, of what we got going on. So if you go on iTunes or anywhere, and the podcast, it's Grind or grindpodcast.com is where you can find all the shows. That's really almost like a journal of like what we're dealing with, myself and the co-host. It's diving into just everything dealing with business. So check that out for sure. And all of our contact information is on that. So grindpodcast.com is going to be a really good way to reach out to us. and check out our trials and tribulations of life, of the ups and downs of business. Because it's not all right. I mean, it's not all sexy.
Yeah.
It's definitely not all sexy. It's like, it's quite the opposite. You have like little nuggets of like sexiness in there, but most of it is not, and that's what we expose.
One of my favorite quotes is the Mike Tyson quote. I can't remember exactly how it goes, but basically, basically be prepared to get punched in the face.
Oh, everything's going well until you get punched in the face or
something like that. Right.
It's the truth. Or no, it's something about that's what it is. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Yeah,
it's like,
I love it. I gotta put that quote in my office.
So true, man.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you being part of the show and taking time out of your day, and good luck on your appointment coming up.
Thanks, brother.
All right. Talk to you.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
A special thanks to Joey Torkildson for joining us on the show. Appreciate his energy and his wisdom too. He brings it definitely. So appreciate that. And man, I mean, he's spending 3 hours a day doing lead generation, doing something simple like that, lead generation, but it's powerful and it's showing through the business he's building, through the results that they're getting. And a couple of things I took from him, do the basics. And that's what he talked about, is that lead generation is basic. It's simple. But most people don't do it and they're not getting results. So do the basics. Then stay disciplined. Discipline for freedom. If you want freedom, stay disciplined. Another great tip. And then the last thing is embracing fear. You're not growing unless you've got fear, and you're embracing that and pushing through that fear. So embrace fear. Last words of wisdom. So Joey, check him out at the Grind Podcast, grindpodcast.com, and then Joey at goteamtorque.com. And again, I appreciate him being on the show. Check us out on Facebook if you haven't already. Also, go on to iTunes, give us a 5-star rating and review if you haven't done that. Subscribe to the show if you haven't done that, and share it out. Let other people know what we're doing. We'd appreciate it. Make every day Saturday. Are you ready to start investing in real estate today but don't know where to start? Sometimes investing can seem way too complicated, but it actually couldn't be any easier than with homeinvest.com. You know the co-founder and my friend Nate Armstrong. He appeared on episode 20, and if you haven't heard it, go back and listen to it, episode number 20. Home Invest is a company that allows you to invest in turnkey real estate. Their goal is to build powerful investment tools that make real estate investing accessible to everyone. They have contractors and property managers available for you with the click of your mouse. While other real estate agents can only offer a property, Home Invest brings you a full turnkey package that allows you to diversify your investments, earn passive income, and start building equity in properties. Their simple, intuitive design allows newcomers and experienced investors alike to hit the ground running and to be able to choose the properties when they want and where they want. View easy to understand charts and data to allow you to buy in only a few clicks or just a simple phone call. With Home Invest, you'll be building your portfolio as quickly or as slowly as you would like. And right now, Home Invest is giving our listeners, Pillar of Wealth Creation listeners, a free course on how to finally win in real estate investing. So go to homeinvest.com/pillars. That's homeinvest.com/pillars to claim your free course today.